Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
We just got news that Diddy's freak-off parties would often happen after Super Bowl and VMA parties, especially around the years of 2004 and 2005. How do we know this? Well, tapes of these parties have been exclusively viewed by the New York Post, and they wrote a whole article about it. I mean, they get into detail. When it happened, where it happened, who was involved, and what went down. Now, we're going to get into this, and I'm going to be very careful with my words, but viewer discretion is still advised. In the early morning hours of August 29, 2005, the Diddy after party from the MTV VMAs was still going strong. Actress Eva Longoria chatted with Fergie in one corner, while Ice-T, Quincy Jones, NASCAR great Jeff Gordon, and Paris Hilton mingled with guests. Combs hosted the VMAs, and his after party was the hottest ticket in town that night. But one by one, the celebrities left the party. There is no indication they knew about or were involved in what happened next. Soon the event moved from inside at Space Club nightclub to Diddy's Miami mansion. From there, it appears to have descended into a ruckus sex party, according to photos and videos viewed by the Post. By then, all the stars appeared to have been gone except one, Diddy. They were replaced by a cast of fit young men and women, all in various states of undress, as two white men took turns with a very young woman who had clearly had white powder under her nose. Diddy could be seen in the background wearing a white t-shirt with the words "God is the greatest" written in black, the same t-shirt he was photographed wearing at the VMA's after party. Party number 2. During the weekend of the Super Bowl in Jacksonville in February 2005, Diddy threw a star-studded gala with attendees like Ashton Kutcher, Ashley Simpson, and Girls Gone Wild founder Joe Francis. Hours later, the party seemingly moved to a $2 million mansion in nearby Sawgrass, which Diddy rented out for a reported $20,000 a week. In one video, two men get intimate with each other while the sounds of laughter echo throughout the room. It appears that Diddy himself took part in action that night and held the camera from his point of view while he appeared to engage with a woman. Again, there's no indication that his Super Bowl party guests knew about this freak-off that took place afterward. But man, this is wild. I mean, these are videos and clips viewed exclusively by the New York Post, allegedly.
Something feels off about this. It seems like they're really going out of their way to make the claim that none of these other celebrities knew what was going on at these after parties. And it would suck to be guilty by association just because you went to a party one night, but there's no way that none of these people knew what was going on. This just feels like the New York Post is running damage control for these celebrities.
The Emerald Tablet, also known as the Smaragdine Table, has captivated minds for centuries. Attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a figure combining the Greek Hermes and the Egyptian Thoth, it is said to hold the secrets of the universe. The tablet first appears in Kitab Sir al-Khalqa wa Sanat al-Tab'a, the book of the secret of creation and the art of nature, written in the 8th or 9th century and attributed to Balanas, the Arabic name for Apollonius of Tyana. This text describes the discovery of the tablet in a vault beneath a statue of Hermes in Tyana. According to the legend, Balanas found a corpse holding the tablet, its words etched on green stone, a message from the ancient past waiting to be unearthed. Shortly after, the Emerald Tablet appears in Kitab al-Ustukus al-Than, the second book of the Element of the Foundation, attributed to the renowned alchemist Jabir ibn Hayyan, or Geber. In his version, the tablet becomes a foundation of alchemical knowledge, offering a cryptic guide to spiritual and physical transformation. This 8th or 9th century text underscores the tablet's growing reputation as a source of universal wisdom. Another key appearance is in the Kitab Sir al-Asrar, or The Secret of Secrets, a 10th century treatise falsely attributed to Aristotle. This work, like the others, incorporates the Emerald Tablet into its collection of knowledge, blending ethics, governance, and alchemical practice. Its influence carried the tablet's wisdom across cultures, embedding it firmly within the esoteric traditions of both the Islamic world and medieval Europe. Later, the tablet inspired works like Risalat al-Falakiyya al-Kubra, the great treatise of the spheres, and Kitab Dakhrat al-Iskandar, the treasure of Alexander. These texts, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus himself, explore celestial movements, alchemical properties, and divine revelations. They emphasize Hermes' role as the transmitter of cosmic truths, the ultimate guide to understanding the mysteries of existence. Through these Arabic texts, the Emerald Tablet traveled from the ancient world to the libraries of Europe, where it ignited the imaginations of alchemists, mystics, and philosophers. Figures like Roger Bacon, Albertus Magnus, and Isaac Newton studied its cryptic words, believing they held the secret to the philosopher's stone, the transmutation of metals, and the transformation of the soul. As above, so below. This phrase, perhaps the most famous from the tablet, symbolizes the unity of the cosmos and humanity, a profound statement on the interconnectedness of all things.
So this was a distinction I had not understood yet, but the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and the Emerald Tablets of Hermes are apparently not the same thing. The Emerald Tablets of Hermes were discovered in and around the 8th century and is where the popular moniker as above, so below comes from. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which Billy Carson is always rambling on about, wasn't discovered until 1925, but it is widely regarded as a fake. It has essentially the same backstory as the Book of Mormon. Some guy finds something that he claims only he can transcribe and then expects everyone to just take it on faith. Hey, don't forget to click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
Bible, you discover he's born of a virgin birth. When you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you discover that he talks about he developed the ability to incarnate at will on and in any plane that he desires. I've just done the work. I've read so much information and I've been able to put together so many dots.
You didn't come up with this. You read this from somewhere. What did you read that told you this?
The Gospel of the Holy 12.
The Emerald Tablets of Thoth don't exist. In 1925, a man named Maurice Doreal claimed to have gone to the Great Pyramids in Giza and discovered an artifact that he called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And then he produced a translation of the said document. But Doreal never actually produced any evidence of any tablets, merely told people he did. Sure, you can go on Amazon and buy a supposed translation of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, but you're just reading what Doreal made up. No archaeologist or Egyptologist today thinks there is any artifact called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The Gospel of the Holy 12 is also a forged document.
I just wanted to put that one to bed. Billy Carson has exposed himself as a false prophet who's out here spreading lies in an attempt to make a career out of misguiding people. He's in panic mode too. He's been hitting some of my old videos with copyright strikes if I don't agree with what he's saying in the clip that's in it. So if you notice any of my older videos are now missing, that's likely the reason why. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Not only can he not hold his own in a debate when he's talking to someone who actually knows what they're talking about, but now he's coming after anyone who disagrees with him on YouTube, after he's been exposed as not knowing what he's talking about. The guy's just embarrassing himself in my opinion. And he's still putting this stuff out there even after he was exposed as being an uneducated grifter.
I don't think he overdosed.
It would be weird if he did to me.
I think Michael Jackson was innocent. I think Michael Jackson picked a fight with the most powerful people in the world, which is the record labels. Literally called him a devil and a racist.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil. Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist.
And how he was taking advantage of him and all the other people's records and all the money they were making him. What happens a year later? Barrage of allegations. Oh, Michael Jackson's a pedophile, this, that. No evidence on that.
Yeah.
There's no evidence on any case he got. He was completely innocent on all of them.
Wow.
Those record labels controlled the media at the time. So when they go against him, they have the newspapers and they have the regular TV. And they made him look out wacko jacko. Everyone thought this guy was a monster. Like they made him out to a literal monster. And everyone was scared of the guy. He tried to speak out for all the artists and for him because that he was so big, Michael Jackson, that he was buying the rights back to his own music.
Wow.
I own half of Sony's publishing and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me.
The fact that Corey Feldman in my opinion, the most vocal anti-child abuse advocate in Hollywood, still to this day maintains that Michael Jackson never even made him feel nervous. That tells me all I need to know. It is very hard to find someone speaking as openly and as passionately as Corey Feldman does whenever he's speaking on this subject matter. I almost get the sense that he has this feeling like it's up to him to expose it all. And if that guy maintains that Michael Jackson was innocent and that he was framed, I'll believe that guy before I believe those that stood to gain money and power by tearing him down.
New whistleblower is coming forward saying he's not just saying he's heard about a secret government program to retrieve UFO crash remains. He says he's worked on this program. He claims to have video to prove it and credentialed colleagues who back him up, and he has the attention of at least one senior lawmaker. News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil is here with a first look. Joe, these are pretty stunning claims.
Yeah, they are, Elizabeth. The man you saw in the video, Jake Barber, he's an Air Force veteran, and he is coming forward with some shocking claims. The first person to go public saying that he actually participated directly in a secret military program that he believes was to retrieve UAP or alien craft. Now, Barber says he was contracted as a helicopter pilot. He retrieved all kinds of crashed craft. Some of it, he says, top secret and explainable. Others, he says, however, he believes were non-human origin. It's not just him. We've got 3 other military veterans backing up his story on the record and on camera to News Nation. So take a listen quickly to just part of Ross Coulthart's conversation with Barber.
So tell me about the moment when you realized that you were involved in a retrieval of non-human technology, alien tech.
So it became very clear the first time our communication process and procedure was modified. And then just visually looking at the object on the ground, you could tell that it was extraordinary and anomalous. It was not human.
How close did you get?
Well, I was a helicopter pilot, and I operate with 150 foot to 200 foot long line. So I got within 150 feet of this object.
What did you see?
I saw an egg, a white egg.
Was there any visible propulsion system on it?
No, not what we would know. There's no engine, there was no thermal signature. I was operating at night when I finally came in to pick it up, so I'm working under night vision goggles at the time. And it was quite clear. I flipped them up, flipped them down, and looked at it a couple of different ways.
How did you know that that egg-shaped object was non-human in origin?
Well, visually, after seeing all kinds of things in my past, it was clearly something that was ridiculously looking. It's inconsistent with anything I'd ever seen before. I can also tell you that the reaction by my team, we all knew we were dealing with something extraordinary.
And at no stage were you ever subsequently told that the craft was of non-human origin?
I will tell you that during this process over the last couple of years, it's been confirmed to me by ranking members of the UAP task force that what we were working with that night was in fact NHI, and it was not a unique experience.
So, Elizabeth, Saturday night, 8 p.m. is that special that you can see here. They've also got some exclusive video of one of these retrievals that's never before been seen. We've also confirmed Barber has met with some high-level Senate staff. So a lot there, and you're going to see all that this weekend.
Wow. That's a blockbuster. All right, Joe Khalil, thanks so much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at the time of me filming this video is not released yet, so I can't get my hands on this retrieval footage he's talking about. I would say, though, that this guy's story sounds believable enough to me. He's not really even making that wild of a claim. He's just simply saying he was ordered to retrieve something, and everyone, including himself, thought it was a UFO. That's not that fantastical. It could have been new technology from another country they had never seen before, and they would still have the same reaction, though. So I'm imagining that this footage is going to be interesting, but I'm not expecting some big new revelation from any of this.
What if you're the only real person? There's a theory called solipsism that suggests you are the only conscious being in existence. Everyone else, your friends, family, even strangers on the street, are just NPCs, programmed by your mind to make you feel less alone. Well, you see, have you ever noticed how things only exist when you focus on them? Scientists studying quantum mechanics have found that particles behave differently when observed. almost as if reality itself is reacting to you. And here's the eerie part. There's no way to prove anyone else is truly conscious. Every word, every emotion, every interaction could just be your brain simulating the illusion of a shared reality. But if everything and everyone is a construct, then what's the real purpose of this elaborate simulation? Could it be to comfort you? Or is there something, or someone, watching to see how you'll react?
I am at average intelligence at best. I can hold my own in a conversation with a stranger, but that's about my only trick. If all of this world, people included, was just a figment of my own imagination, how in the world could I imagine and conjure up people who are so much smarter and more capable than me at so many different things? If you just ask yourself that one question, this entire theory starts to fall apart. I do feel like I know people who must hold this point of view, though. This is pretty much describing the outlook of a narcissist, and I'm sure we've all come across a few of those before.
Science agrees that everything in the universe comes from one energy source. Some call it universal energy. Some call it life force energy. Some of us, for the lack of a better name, just call it God. They also agree that everything in the universe is nothing more than electromagnetic energy. The birds, the bees, the grass, the trees, and you and I are nothing more than a series of energy systems put together in a very interesting form. In this world, we call it matter. Would you be kind enough to take your watch off? Yep. I collect watches. Okay. Thank you. Would you take your glasses off? I won't ask you to take anything else off. Okay. The thymus gland is your immune system. Any energy that impacts his thymus gland in a positive way will allow him to lock his motor muscles. A motor muscle is any joint muscle. If it affects him in a negative way, he will be unable to lock that motor muscle. Show me your strength. I'm just going to take 2 fingers, pull down, and you don't mess with John. Okay, hang on to that, John. Okay, once again, show me your strength, John. And he's one tough cookie, and he's really struggling too. That was 2 fingers. Almost thought I was going to have to use 3 for a minute. This is a battery-operated watch. There's a logical explanation. You could see this one coming, couldn't you? Emitting 1 pulse, electrical pulse per second, going directly into his electrical system and short-circuiting his electrical system. And every minute he wears this, it lowers his immune system, makes him more susceptible to colds, the sniffles, and whatever else follows that. Let's just lay that back there. And I'm going to ask you to step back for just a moment. Okay. And Zelda's turn. Do you have a watch?
Yes.
Oh, that completes my collection. Okay, show me your strength. You're in good shape. And may I have her glasses? Would you be kind enough to put your glasses on? Again, show me your strength. Now, there's a logical explanation to this, too. We're electromagnetic beings, are we not? Energy's coming out of our head into this big ball of energy out here, going back and forth. Energy's coming out of the side of Zelda's head, finding the path of least resistance called metal. Comes around to the other side, has no place to go. Now, the interesting thing about electricity is it wants to complete a circuit. And if it can find a pathway, it will do so. You just happen to be a good conductor of electricity. Interestingly, if you took a metal chain, came around to the other side, that energy would simply chase in the necklace effect and she would test strong. So if you had plastic glasses, which you would test okay, and then put a metal chain, you've just created the same thing all over again. And for you gals that have pop-on bracelets, is it your desire to have your watches and glasses made safe for you?
We have talked so much on this channel about the body's electromagnetic field. We've seen diagrams of it and charts showing what it's supposed to look like, but I thought this was fascinating to see something affecting it in real time. Seeing how such a small piece of metal can have such a major impact on your strength capabilities just because of its interaction with your magnetic field really shows just how sensitive the human body is to its environment. This one really makes me think, what are all the other things that we interact with on a daily basis that have an extreme negative impact on us? I'm glad I came across this one. I'm going to have to do some digging in this.
Is the US government hiding Gilgamesh's body? The story of Gilgamesh, written around 2000 BC, tells of a brutal king, 2/3 god and 1/3 man, who was said to stand 17 feet tall and was buried under the Euphrates River, which just so happened to be drying up. Well, you see, in 2003, archaeologist Jörg Fassbinder claimed to have discovered Gilgamesh's tomb using advanced LiDAR scans in Mesopotamia. His team found what appeared to be an ancient burial site beneath the riverbed. But then, something strange happened. Just a month later, the US invaded Iraq, halting all archaeological work. Locals reported seeing the military digging at night, and the tomb site became heavily guarded by U.S. forces. Why would the U.S. government be so interested in an ancient king's remains? Could there be truth to the claims of his divine ancestry, or was something else hidden in that tomb? Because if the stories are true, you have to wonder.
So this one is hard to form an opinion about. The timeline for this theory does seem to line up at a glance, but the oldest reports that I could find on the discovery of this tomb were April of 2003, but we invaded Iraq on March 20th, 2003. So unless the government knew about this discovery before it got reported to the public, in which case, why would they even tell us about it? This couldn't have been the cause for the invasion. Now, the idea that they found something down there and stole it, I totally buy that. I don't know that I believe that anything was even discovered down there. I would imagine that the war probably stopped the excavation process because there's been zero new updates since 2003. But if they did find something down there, I'm certain our federal government got their hands on it. They love taking stuff that does not belong to them.
Definitely not a good time being an astronaut. They're still up there.
I thought they got taken back.
No.
Do you remember? This is like a Mandela effect that's happening.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to rescue them. Cool.
But then they show someone getting off the capsule when they got back to Earth. This was like a month ago. Because they're like, the astronaut had to be put in a wheelchair and like wheeled to the hospital like immediately. Everyone thought those were the astronauts that came back.
No, but they said it was them. They
That's
said
what I
they
thought.
came home.
Also, they had the conspiracy because they had Christmas decorations.
Yeah, that's the one.
And Christmas hats and stuff like that. And they're like, well, we hope you have a Merry Christmas. They're like, wait a minute. You weren't planning to be up there till Christmas.
Where'd you get the decorations from?
Yeah. They probably have like a box for things.
Or they were handmade decorations at the time.
I thought for sure they came back.
It's weird, man, because I remember
that
they
clip of
Yeah.
him getting up. Like they literally had to, like it looked like he was like almost dead, dude.
Yeah.
And they like put him on like a stretcher.
Can you imagine like suddenly feeling like you weigh 4 times your weight?
Every time I get out of my bed.
That's me after the holidays.
Does this make sense to anyone else? I don't remember any news of those astronauts coming home at all, but maybe I just missed this one, so I figured you guys could fill me in. I tried to do a little digging online, and I did discover that it's apparently protocol for them to put each astronaut in a wheelchair whenever they get back until they can run tests on them in order to get the best data. I thought that was interesting.
Great big twin stone chairs facing each other, and in between was this great big table, and everything was covered with petroglyphs. Down on the table, on the back of the chairs, nothing on the seats of the chairs, but the chairs all one piece. I stood there as they uncovered it and realized this is all true. And who the hell made this stuff? Walked on down, starting to inspect all of this, and they decided to have a smoke break while I went to investigate. Decided to sit in one. And that was my biggest mistake. So I sat in one of these stone chairs, and all of a sudden, according to Bones and G, I disappeared. I couldn't see them either. I was in a fog. I sat in that stone chair. I went into another world. And it was just like a great big fog. And right in front of me was this big guy. And it was some kind of, best I can explain it to you. He was holding something up and he was talking to me. And he was trying to tell me something.
Could you hear him, or?
Yeah, I could hear him.
But you speak, or?
Yeah, a totally different language.
Okay.
Totally foreign. Okay? But he was standing there and he was telling me, like 8 or 9 feet tall. But he was dark complected, he had long hair, he had feathers through his hair, not like Indian feathers or anything, something different. Colorful robe, red, white, or red, blue, you know, super colorful rainbow type thing. You know, the funny thing is he had some kind of boots on. You know, I couldn't make it out. This all happened in a second or two. It seemed like forever. But Bones and Gene said, no, this all happened just real quick. I was in this trance. Bones and Gene were running around looking for me. What the hell happened to him? Where could he go?
Were you aware if they were looking for you or not?
No.
Okay, you was oblivious to that.
Totally oblivious
to the other thing.
Yeah. Anyways, and so something happened to me. I'm listening to this whole thing. I'm seeing this vision and everything else. And I get out of the chair, and all of a sudden, bing, I'm back to reality. And Bones and Gene found me. And Gene says, "Where the hell have you been?" I said, "Hey, I've been here the whole time. I haven't moved. I could ask you the same question." Got this thing in me now. I wanted to know.
What happened to you?
What happened?
This one I can't find anything about online. If anyone has a link to the full-length version of this, please drop a link to it over in the Discord. I want to hear the full story and where this all supposedly happened. I'm not assuming this guy is telling the truth, but man, does it appear that he believes he's telling you the truth. And he may just be an award-worthy actor, but he seems like he's recalling all of this from memory. I just love stuff like this. The world is a strange and mysterious place. You just never know what you're going to hear about.
What's going on here?
Renee.
Well, just madness, I think. Just more of this madness employment bill from Angela Rayner, which really needs to be scrapped. Because if we're getting to the point where people are not able to talk about anything they want to talk about in a pub, which is where you talk about anything you want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's over. Pubs are over, free speech is over. This whole bill is a disaster for employers and needs to be scrapped.
And because the Equality and Human Rights Commission is saying that if the way this bill could be interpreted, if you start giving your view on the transgender issue, for instance, someone can say, that's out of order.
Yeah.
Conversation over.
Your words offend me.
Exactly.
In my workplace, and therefore...
And the publican then may be required to end the conversation,
Oh, I hate
throw them out,
it.
or throw them out the pub.
I mean, it really is 1984. We are
Yeah.
living it now, isn't it? It's newspeak. This
Yeah.
is what you're allowed to say, nothing else.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to the pubs bit, common sense would probably prevail, and I think it'd be very unlikely there would be any action taken in a pub. It could happen, but I think it's unlikely.
But the fact it could makes it wrong.
But the
surely.
intention of this is to stop harassment in the workplace.
Yes.
So that's the idea. What seems to have happened, according to the Equality and Human Rights Commission, is that's now being literally interpreted by employers, which means in the workplace you couldn't discuss, you just mentioned transgender issues, that would be a good example, but couldn't discuss basically contentious issues in case someone overhears you. So what started as to being able to protect employees either from being intimidated by other employees or by customers or clients or something like that has gone one stage too far because of the wording.
Yeah, can I just give you the actual wording? I think it might be useful.
Yeah, go on.
So it's the quote is, unwanted conduct that has the purpose or effect of violating the recipient's dignity.
It's to the point I'd be scared to visit the UK anymore. Not that it was on my bucket list or anything, but I'll never step foot in there now. You can't even call someone a jerk in the bar anymore whenever they say something rude to you, because if the wrong person overhears it, they're going to report you, and now both of you are getting carted off to jail. How can anyone live like that? How do these politicians expect that they're even going to enjoy their interactions with society if this is going to be the state of it? This sounds absolutely miserable. I feel so bad for the citizens of the UK, and they can't even protest against stuff like this or they'll be jailed. All they can do is sit back and watch it happen. It's horrifying. But guys and gals, that's the end of our clips today. Sorry to end on such a sour note, but I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com. And don't forget to leave a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video like this one. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone's having a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.